Welcome to the Toastmasters Experience. My name is Evelyn. Get inspired by today's Toastmasters Insights. Enjoy the show. And welcome to another episode of the Toastmasters Experience. I'm excited and delighted to have with me Dale Ann Clark. Now, I've interviewed Dale in a previous episode. Now, this was actually in October 2024, but I have her on the show again today because there's other things I want to ask her. So, Dale, welcome to the Toastmasters Experience.
Thanks so much, Evelyn, and lovely to be back again.
Yes, so I just want to do a little bit of a recap. Just let me know, how long have you been in Toastmasters and what clubs are you currently in?
So I joined in 1989. I think that works at about 38 years. I'm a speaker, not a mathematician. And I'm a member of Dural Toastmasters and StageTime Toastmasters.
And you are a professional speaker. What has your journey been like?
I think for me, it all happened accidentally, starting off with running public speaking courses at a school, then doing training for the staff, then gradually moving into being asked to come and speak at various organizations. So a lot of it has been accidental, and only more recently, like in the last 10, 15 years, more strategic. It's been tough. I wouldn't say that it is an easy market to crack. I don't think it's an easy profession to choose. I think we often look at very successful speakers who are charging enormous fees and think, that's great, that's what I want to do. It takes so much work, energy, marketing skill, business acumen to get to that level and to be able to run a successful speaking practice.
So Dale, over the years, I've seen you at many different conferences and you've run all of these amazing workshops and they've all been different topics.
Thank you.
Yeah, does Toastmasters ask you to do this and do you actually charge or how does that work?
Firstly, yes, they invite me to present workshops or keynotes, and no, I don't charge. One of the key things I think about Toastmasters and what makes it a successful model is that we give back to the organization that has played such a huge role in our own personal success. So I do that very happily, very willingly. And it's not entirely a one-way street. I get a lot out of the act of preparing and putting together material and delivering it to a wonderfully receptive and warm audience. And the bonus is things like the trip to China. So I was invited there and they funded my ticket and travel expenses. But the actual workshop is my gift to Toastmasters, and I think I can definitely say I got more than I gave there. It was just such an incredible, fulfilling, rewarding growth experience to be able to do that. So I hope I'm fortunate enough to do more of that.
Oh, okay. No, that sounds good. Now, I know that you became an accredited speaker in 2023. Has that benefited you in any way?
I think for me personally, it definitely has been a worthwhile designation to obtain. I work part-time in a law firm, and that job came about directly as a result of becoming an accredited speaker. The person who interviewed me saw the video, The Con in Confidence, which is available online, and apparently looked at it and said, yes, I want her doing the training. So that's a direct spin-off. I've had clients who have said to me that they were looking at a couple of options and I was the only accredited speaker. So they went with me. I've had clients approach me because they've looked at the accredited speaker list online and found my name there, and consequently approached me to deliver their workshops. So there's definitely been spin-offs for me. I understand that hasn't necessarily been the case for every accredited speaker, but I would say, in any field, any accreditation or qualification, I think is a statement of seriousness.
Yeah.
So I would say, even just from that point of view, it's worth doing.
And I know it's a hard process. We did cover that in episode 14. So for those of you who are listening out there, there's so much information on episode 14 of the Toastmasters Experience with Dale. I interviewed her then, and we were also talking about an event that happened, and that was the Celebrate the Centennial of Toastmasters, the online 20-hour event. And I do have to say this, Dale, because I think you're such a credit to Toastmasters, because you do so much for Toastmasters and you give back so much. So thank you so much for doing that. And thank you so much for being on this podcast. I know that you also had something to do with Yoodli. Can you tell me a little bit about Yoodli?
Yes, Yoodli is an AI platform to help improve speaking, and I still use it quite a bit with my individual online coaching clients. It's a great way of getting them to go off and practice their talks, and then they can send the recordings through to me for feedback. But you can play with it as much as you like in your own time. I use it from time to time when I'm preparing a workshop or I'm trying to get an introductory piece right. I'll hop onto Yoodli and do a couple recordings. And the AI coaching aspect will give you feedback. It'll give you analytics. What's your pace? What's your rate of speech? Do you have filler words? All of that sort of very valuable feedback, not requiring an R counter. You can have your own little meeting by yourself. So Yoodli, YOODLI.ai is where you can go. And I think it's free for the first few goes, and then after that it's in the region of $20 a month.
And you were in charge of that, weren't you, putting that together, or were you part of a team?
No, I wasn't part of the team. My background's definitely not software or anything, but I was one of the earliest trial coaches when it was still in its infancy and definitely not looking as swish and professional as it is now, when it was just a kind of concept that they were playing with. They asked me to test it on clients. So I did a bit of work in the background when they were building it and gave feedback as to what would be useful, what buttons they needed, that kind of thing.
How has AI changed the speaking game?
I think on a number of levels, and obviously this is a very personal and individual thing. It depends what platforms you're on and how you use it. So I did a workshop, funnily enough, at District 70, talking about the different AI platforms. I'll try condense the half-hour talk into a short answer, even, but no promises. There's Notebook LM, which is a great way to bounce ideas. What it does is it creates a little podcast from your script and then feeds back thoughts on that to you. I personally find that very useful. I use Claude for research purposes, and one of the things I did in the talk was take last year's world champion speech, the 2025 champion, and put the transcript as well as the transcript of Alan Rees-Bevan's speech through Claude and got it to do an analysis against the International Speech Contest judging criteria. And it issued a report which compared both the talks and explained why Alan wasn't yet a world champion. And Alan was there, and I did it with his permission. This wasn't an ex-wife getting her revenge. It was all done in fun. And It was a really interesting exercise, and I think that's something anyone can use Claude Coworker to do. Give
Wow.
it a script and let it play with it and give you some feedback.
I find AI scary, interesting, exciting all at once,
Yes.
And people say that AI will take certain jobs away, but I don't think it could ever take the job away of a speaker. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
I have very mixed feelings because the more I play with AI, the more I see it coming up with the most incredible things. And if you listen to the Notebook LM podcasts, Evelyn, you might be out of a job.
Oh gosh, probably.
it, I think it is going places. I think in terms of when you look at a conference and that experience of everyone connecting in a room with a human being up at the front saying, what do you think about this? And responding in real time to people's faces and connecting with them on that level. I think a very present, good conference speaker can create a unique, special experience there and then for an
Mhm.
audience. I struggle to imagine, and this may be my failing rather than AI's, I struggle to imagine how AI could replicate that. And I think that's where we will always have something to offer.
Yeah, I think so too. As a speaker, like we connect with the audience. But you're
Mm.
absolutely right about those AI podcasts. They blow my mind. They absolutely. So I
Yeah.
absolutely make more mistakes. So that's how you know it's real. you know? But
And do you know what? There's some very interesting research on that. I've heard it said about musicians, and I've noticed it myself in speaking. And I recently read an article to do with theatre as well. The times when people make a little mistake is often when the audience responds the best. You get the
ah,
best feedback, you get the best response, you're more
yeah.
likely to get a standing ovation because I think there's something in the mistake making that tells people what the effort is required to do this.
Oh.
When you do it perfectly, people don't understand that this is not easy. So it's an interesting psychology, and yes, it's a good idea. Evelyn, make a few more
I
mistakes.
will, I will, I will. And I do talk over people, and I know I do a lot of yeah, right, yeah, okay. So AI hasn't done that yet. I've noticed that. Now, let's get away from AI, and I'd like to talk about something that I know you're very passionate about, and this is the lifeboat debate.
Oh, yes,
Yes,
coming up on the 18th of July.
18th of July. Now, I want to know when did this first start? How did you get the idea?
It was something that we ran in South Africa many, many years ago, but as a very casual, probably a table topic session, get four people up, give them a character and get them to justify their existence. So when I moved to Australia, I approached our then club president, Justin Gill, at Dural, and I said, I really want to do this, but I want to do it as an event, invite other clubs, get them to bring supporters, get them to dress up as the characters, and make an evening of it. And I think he was a little skeptical and thought I was slightly crazy, which is not entirely unfair. We got a good response from the clubs in the area, and it was a lovely evening, and it was hilarious. And then some of the younger members at Dural enjoyed this and said we can make this even bigger and decorate the hall even more. And so the following year we advertised it and got more people involved. And then I offered to run one for the district annual conference. And I think Juliana Jamal was the conference chair at the time, and she worked with me on that, and we put it on as a Friday night activity, which gave it a bit more exposure around the district. From there, it just continued as an annual event, which I believe a lot of people still enjoy attending. There are some regulars, and it's always there for people who want to do something new, try something different. We are coming up soon for the 20-year anniversary, and for that one in 2028, we're planning to get together a few of the past champions, and that will be the cast for the lifeboat debate.
For someone who's never been to a lifeboat debate, can you explain how your event works?
Sure. So a few clubs will nominate to participate, and they will either run a club contest and then select their winner, or they'll just put forward the person. We prefer them to run a contest because they're more likely to get club support then. Everyone's invested and they want to go along and see how they do. But either way, they'll give us their contestant, and that person will pick a historical character, someone who's famous but no longer alive. And when we say historical, really the only criteria is that they're not living anymore. So it could be recent history.
Okay.
David Bowie, Freddie Mercury, anyone. It can be someone from movies, music, politics, anything. And they dress up as that character, they inhabit that person's character, and then justify why they deserve the last place on the boat and deserve to live again, as it were. So they will come up with arguments either based on what would make them useful in a lifeboat. So we've had Gandhi coming along saying, you can use my wrap as a sail, and, sort of spurious things like that. Or they'll talk about why they need to live again because of their philosophies and contribution to the world. And then all the other characters will shoot those arguments down. A lot of it is utterly ridiculous, but they do a little bit of research on the person, and interesting information comes forward, and there's a little bit of learning attached, but mostly it's about being quick-witted, picking up on cues, taking a quirky angle to the person's character and exploring that.
And so when they debate their cause, are they timed?
Yes. They get a minute to introduce themselves and then 2 minutes to rebut all the other arguments. So it's pretty fast paced.
Okay. So it starts with, I'm assuming it's 2 rounds of 8 contestants. Is that how that works? Or
two rounds of 5 contestants each,
okay.
And then the audience votes, and the top 5 contestants. So you can vote for someone from either round. The top 5 contestants go forward to the final round.
Okay, so it works that they would come up and they would talk about how great they are for the 1 minute, and then everyone does that for the 1 minute, and then when they go for the 2 minutes, that's when they say, "Oh, Gandhi is not going to be good at all," or whoever. Okay, got it. And then the audience they vote. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I've been to, I think, 2, and you always have a theme. So do you have a theme this year?
We do. So we've picked a ship, which is the RMS Majestic, which apparently was sailing in the 1920s and known for its splendor. So we're going for the roaring 20s. It's going to be glitz and gold and magnificence.
And the characters, the people who are going to be part of the show, they can choose any person from the past. Is that
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. They're not restricted to an age. The theme is more for audience members to have something to dress up to and get into that idea. So that's more about setting the ship atmosphere, and then the people on stage are the entertainment.
And how does it work? Because obviously they don't know about the other characters, or do they get to know about the other characters so that they can have a good rebuttal?
Yeah. We generally try to release the character names to all the contestants a week out.
Okay.
Sometimes someone will be a little bit slow in saying who they are and what they're planning to do. So sometimes it's as little as 2 or 3 days notice, but we try to give them some warning.
In the show notes, I will have a link of how to book. So how much does it cost, Dale?
It's $50 a ticket, and that includes some food when you're there. There's a break halfway through, so you get some nibbles and you get to have a chance to go and speak to all the characters while you're having your dinner break.
And where is it at?
It's at the Dural Country Club.
And is there alcohol that people can buy?
There's a bar on the side which leads onto the room, so it's a very conveniently placed. They can go and get their drinks.
A great night, 18th of July, which is a Saturday. And what time does it start?
6:30.
6:30. Okay.
So if people can start getting there at about 6.
Something else that you're very passionate about is Chatter Camp. Can you let me know a little about Chatter Camp, how that came about, and how long that's been going?
Sure. So Chattercamp's been going for 12 years, and that started mainly because I thought it would be really cool to have a boot camp for kids where you could go away and spend a couple nights away from home and just really have an opportunity to establish independence and confidence and focus on speaking and speaking games. Round about the time where I was thinking this would be a cool thing to do, we had a son in year 5 who had to go to school and do these regular little talks. And that was largely the impetus to put it all together and invite him and all his friends to come along to it. And we've been going ever since. He got involved for a while as a junior leader and then a senior leader, and then he became a trainer. So he helped out for a few years afterwards as well. And I think has benefited enormously from it, as have hundreds of other children now.
Wow. So you've been doing it 12 years. And what time of the year do you usually do it?
That's in April. Bookings are open already. Our next camp is 21st to the 23rd of April next year, and bookings are open.
Can you tell me a little bit about your book? Like what was your inspiration about writing the book?
I originally wrote it to go hand in hand with the program that I was running, a speaking formula, and the rationale behind it was that if participants were coming and doing this 2-day course, it would be nice for them to have something that they could take away rather than a whole lot of loose handout notes. There's something that they could take away and refer back to. It surprised me, I think, how successful it's been as a standalone book in terms of when I go to clubs or conferences or run other workshops. I will often, in my other paid work, I include it in the price, and people seem to really respond to it and appreciate the information that's in it. So it doesn't need to be distributed in tandem with the course. It's got a lot of good information for someone looking to improve their speaking, just as a source of information on its own.
You can purchase that, I'm assuming, through Amazon. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So, if someone wants to hire you to do an educational workshop or keynote, how do they do that? Do they contact you through your website, or how does that work?
Yes, typically they'll come to me through either LinkedIn or through my website, and I'll get an email saying that they've got a team of however many people and that they're looking for training in a certain area. Normally they're pretty specific. It's usually to do with increasing confidence, needing to pitch to clients or needing to give presentations to certain areas, and they'll want help with that. And then we will discuss it and decide what the best format is, whether it's a half-day workshop or a full-day workshop or a training program or an online training program. And when we've decided the best forum, then I'll put together a proposal and we'll take it from there.
Do you do individual, like one-on-one coaching for speakers?
I have done a bit of work with competition speakers, but that is not my area of specialization. I would say that I'm better at looking at generalized speaking skills for people who are looking to improve their profile at work or need help with preparing for a conference or a special event, that kind of speaking. I think the contest speaking is very niche. I would be more inclined to recommend someone like Verity Price, who has honed that to a fine art.
So, professional speaking, it sounds like there's different facets you can get into. Like you can get into the keynote, the educational, just coaching speakers. Do you think it's necessary to join like speaking associations?
I've found Professional Speakers Australia invaluable in terms of information and ideas around running a speaking practice. I think it's really important to understand it's not just about your platform presence and platform skills. It's also about how you run a business. What are your marketing materials? What is your process? What are your systems? Uh, there's so much around it, your booking contracts, all of those sort of things. And I think that's information that professional speakers can help enormously with, as well as just building a community. It's if you're going to set up a speaking practice, it's a very lonely existence. And I think to find people who are in similar positions and going through that same pretty isolated experience, it's good to be part of a group and share ideas and get encouragement from them. So I would absolutely say that's a good place. There's a lot of discussion groups. I know there's always ongoing debates about should you speak for free, should you go for the exposure, or should you be charging for everything? And I think that's a perennial debate. And I know for myself, I did a lot of very low cost work when I was starting my career because you do just want the exposure and you want the practice. Nowadays, I'm much more selective. Obviously, Toastmasters always gets me wherever I can. I'm happy to give back to the organization, but other areas I'm pretty selective. It's generally if someone says you'll get exposure, my comeback, which I've learned from PSA, is you found me. I clearly don't need the exposure.
I think it is a hard career to get into. I think when people do really well at Toastmasters, they think, "Oh, I'll give it a go." But I think you're right. It's also how you run your business as well. So there's a lot of, I guess, like you said, systems in place. And I think running any sort of business, it's sort of lonely. So joining a professional organization makes a lot of sense.
I think the other thing you need to consider if you're looking into professional speaking is what is it that you want to do? Are you just looking for a stage? Do you like the
Mm,
sound of your own voice? Because that's what is the value that you're bringing? Whereas people who have a cause or something that they're really, really passionate about, that they want to help people with, or that they want to see change in society, that's then you're more likely to approach it as a subject matter expert or a staunch advocate of
mm.
something. And I think then you've probably got a much better platform to start from. And you'll also be happier doing the freebies if that is your passion project and get really good at it and then be able to fall into the paid work of that.
As far as social media goes for advertising your business, do you recommend one social media platform over another?
Someone I met a while ago, I think it was last year sometime, was saying that she's on TikTok because a lot of the event planners are young people who hang out on TikTok. So I think there's very sensible advice about going where your people or where your target audience are. Personally, I haven't quite got to grips with TikTok, so I haven't taken that, what seemed to me very sensible advice. I am predominantly on LinkedIn with a little bit on Facebook. But interestingly enough, I've been approached quite recently through LinkedIn, and they said that they've looked at my profile, they've looked at my activity there, and that's what's led them to approach me. So I'm starting to feel that all those weeks and months of putting posts up, which felt like sometimes a pointless activity, it seems to be paying off now. So yeah, LinkedIn works for me. I don't know that there's a right or wrong answer. I think it's about what you're comfortable with and what makes sense to you.
Consistency is the key as
Yes.
well. And
Yes.
like you said, you can feel like you're posting and nothing is happening. And you're probably really close to something happening, but then that's the point where a lot of people quit. But then
Yeah.
those that continue on, that's when the success starts to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I absolutely agree with all of that. Okay,
And
is
I
it?
think, sorry, Evelyn, if I can
Yeah,
also
yeah.
just say, I think there's something really discomforting about putting up the look what I did last week, look at this, I'm here doing another workshop. I hate it and it always makes me cringe. But I think, again, the proof is in the pudding. I'm getting people coming to me saying, you seem to be getting a lot of work, you're looking busy. And I think it just shows how important it is to
Yeah.
demonstrate capacity, demonstrate the evidence of what you're doing,
Yeah.
as uncomfortable as it sometimes feels.
So I know there's different sort of speakers out there and they speak on different topics. Do you have a special or favorite topic that you like to speak about?
So the topics I get asked to speak on the most often are the speaking formula, con in confidence, and occasionally fearless feedback. The keynote that I've developed for a couple of the Toastmasters districts, the key to happiness, is what I would put under my passion project. It's essentially a resilience piece. It's about drawing on studies in positive psychology and looking at how you can design your life in the best possible way. And I feel really strongly about it. And I feel like it's a joy that I want to share with the world. I really want to get that message out there.
If anybody wants to hire you, or if anyone who's listening right now and they want to hire you for a keynote or for one of the topics that you like to talk about, how do they contact you?
They can find me through LinkedIn, Dale Ann Clark, or email me, dale@thespeakingformula.com.au.
I will have all of these links in the show notes. Of course, information about the lifeboat debate, how to contact you if they'd like to hire you for anything. And it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast today, Dale.
It's lovely chatting with you again, Evelyn, and well done on all the work you're doing with these podcasts. It's absolutely amazing how much information you're getting out there for everyone.
Thank you so much for your company. Please tune in next time to the Toastmasters Experience.